So if I'm gonna see if anybody even shows up for this one. There. Let's see who the first person in here is. I'm gonna begin the discussion once we get to 10 people. The discussion today is going to be on reincarnation and past lives. This is an Ask Me Anything. So you guys are gonna lead the way with your questions. Once the questions run out, I hop and I skip. So let us see if we get anybody in here because I did not announce this whatsoever. Maybe I should post the link somewhere. Ndewo Chukwudi, you're the first one, at least that I'm seeing. Ndewo one now. Chukwudi, where are you messaging from? Where are you watching from? Not too close. Yeah, that's fine anyway. Ndewo, Ụtụtụ ọma, Somto, ụtụtụ ọma nwanne m, Ibolachi nwanne. We got 6. Once you get to 10, I'm going to go ahead and begin the discussion. This is on past lives, reincarnation. Today I'm going to be talking about past lives and reincarnation in the in Igbo, which is Igbo spirituality. I'm going to discuss how our ancestors viewed the concept of reincarnation. What did our ancestors reveal to us about these things, and what does reincarnation tell you about yourself, and so forth. Chukwudi says California, Odemma. I'm watching from Nnewi, Anambra State. Hi, my mythology. Thank you very much for tuning in. Well, we're going to begin once we get 10 people in here. Chukwudi and Somto, I think you guys are both new. I'm not sure if you guys have been in a live before. I haven't done one in a while. Duran Charles, watching from California. All right, California's in the house. Well, Ania Nelson, Dewo. She says, hi, how are you doing? Dewo. 8. Once we get 10 people in here, I'm going to begin the discussion. The discussion is going to be on reincarnation and past lives, according to our ancestors. I want to start doing the lives, this weekend lives more regularly. We've passed 10. Anyways, like I was saying, I'm going to go ahead and begin, but I want to do the lives more regularly. Sometimes I just can't think of a topic. So if there's a topic you guys want to hear, just message me on Instagram, message me on Patreon and say, hey, can you go live and discuss this topic? And I'll be glad to go ahead and do that. Maybe you guys can help me out in thinking of topics. So that being said, as always, we are going to begin by breaking the Oji. What I'm doing right now with this ceremony is I am greeting everything and everyone in attendance. I am paying due respects to everything and everyone in attendance. But as our ancestors see it, it's not just the physical person that you're talking to that is in attendance. There are attendants who you can see, those you cannot see, those who, if you are like a Western thinker, I guess, you wouldn't consider an attendant, such as the earth and the sky and so forth. But our ancestors greet them as they would greet anybody else because it is our custom, it is our truth. So that being said, Gambido, Hekekeruwa, Okike bi n'eluigwe, okike na-enye ndụ, okike ka anyị si akọta ike nga anyị ji aga n'ụwa. Ọjị abịala. Eji m ọjị nke na-ekele unu, ma ndị mbụ na ndị egede, ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ. Mmụọ na-esoro anyị na mmụọ na-enye anyị ndụ. Ụwa ọjị ike ka m ji na-ekele unu. Ọjị nke bụ ọjị obiọma. Ọjị nke bụ ọjị ndị ọkpụ na ndị ichie, ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ, ụmụ eke, orie, afọ na nkwọ. Mana anyị niile bụ otu obi, otu ọbara, otu ahụ, otu ije, otu ụkwụ, otu aka, otu mmụọ, otu mmadụ. Ọ bụ otu a ka a ga-aga n'ụwa okike kere ka a gaa. Iji m ọjị nke na-ekelekwe ndị ichie, ụmụ ụwa niile na-eleta anyị. Mana okwu nke bụ okwu ndị ichie gọziri n'obi anyị, ka anyị ji ama onwe anyị, ka anyị ji ama nke gara aga na nke ga-abịa abịa. Otu a ka ọ ga-adị na Eke, na Orie, na Afọ, na Nkwọ. Ise. Pretty short today. question and answer. So if you guys have questions about the incarnation, as far as our ancestors understand it, or what we call Iluwa. He said, thank you. Iluwa is a concept. ILO space UWA, Iluwa, right? For those who don't know, my name is Derek Ofadarnwa. I'm the host of The Medicine Show, so I teach Igbo spirituality, culture, and cosmology here on YouTube and on Patreon. So if you want to join our community and learn with us, you can join at patreon.com/The Medicine Show. So I have this vast research library that I use to learn all of these different concepts. In it, I have books written by different Dibias and Nzes, and as well as like researchers and things like that, that all cover different aspects of Odinani Ndibo. And that is available for all of our patrons. We also have an Odinani group study where we take a topic and we go in depth and we share our different perspectives on it and that type of thing. It's all there on the Patreon. And of course, it's a good way to support the movement. So if you're looking for something to do or how you can contribute, joining patreon.com/The Medicine Show. And for those who wish to learn the Igbo language, not even wish, for those who have made the promise to themselves, those who have vowed that they will learn the language of their ancestors, the language of Ndimbu Nandegede, the language of Umu Ajana na Umu Papando Eligwe. If you are going to be learning this language this year, I would like for you to join us, right? I'm calling you to join us at www.gedu.me. I think I'm going to type that. I'm trying to open the chat without messing anything up before where are we at? All right, I'm not going to mess with this anymore. Anyway, so kedu.me, it's www.kedu.me. So we are teaching the Igbo language. I have 3 extremely dedicated, hyper intelligent, Udinani certified instructors who not only teach you the Igbo language, but we go in depth. I don't believe you can learn the Igbo language without understanding ancestral thoughts, or this thing we're calling Odinani Igbo. So we're not just teaching the language, we're teaching the things that are behind the words so that you can own them. So they go into the bone marrow. And we have found a method for teaching the Igbo language that is like, I don't want to replicate like an English language school where we're doing like dog is in keta and Miri is water. We don't do that, right? We do something entirely different. And within 3 months, we've had people that have never heard the Igbo language before speaking the language of their ancestors. That is at www.kedu.me if you're interested. Everybody's signing up now. So usually this week and the next week is where most people sign up because we're starting August 6th. So most people are signing up now. Seats are limited. Go ahead and sign up if you are interested in learning the language and the culture with us. All right. So let me see if the questions have begun. One name, all for my, yes, I'm doing very well. I need a demma. Chigoziengi, Chigoziriai. We are blessed. So somebody asked, do we choose if we reincarnate or is that the choice of God? All right. So very good question. So according to our ancestors and according to our tradition, we don't choose if we reincarnate. There are some things we can do in life to make that choice, but it is our family that chooses for us. It's our family that chooses for us. It's the people who will bury us who will choose for us. How do they go about choosing? Well, it's ceremonial. In the Igbo tradition, I think a lot of tradition in the world, we have 2 funerals, right? We have 2 burials, right? The first one is the actual burial. The second one is the celebration of the person. The celebration of the person is a means of inviting that person back into the world, right? We are inviting that person back into the world when we have that second funeral. So oftentimes what you will see is that the second funeral looks like, well, both funerals really, but the second funeral in particular looks like a party, or what we would look at like as a party. In fact, it is a party. It's a party, right? There's rice. Somebody wants to insult you in Nigeria. They'll say, don't worry, I'll eat rice at your funeral or at your burial. So there's rice, there's music, people are celebrating, they're dancing, they're celebrating the person that you were in your life, right? When my grandpa passed, it was a really enlightening moment for me. It was like a watershed moment in my life. I went back home in 2015. My grandpa wasn't doing too well. And so I went back home to spend some time with him before he passed. And I just remember the attitude towards his passing was not what you would expect here in the United States, right? people were like laughing and having a good time, and coming and telling him jokes, and he's telling jokes back, and we're all just kind of hanging out. We're taking turns helping him bathe. We're taking turns helping him brush his teeth. He still had his teeth. They're still going strong. Helping him brush his teeth. We're taking turns helping him shave, things like that, right? As a family, as a collective. When he passed, it was like a celebration. This man had lived into his 80s. He had this large, successful family. They've all had children. He has great grandchildren. He lived to see his great grandchildren, that type of thing. So it was a very happy thing. And in that celebrating, we have chosen to invite him back into the world. And I am very proud to say that he came back into the world as my first son, my son. So my son Namdi, who has shown up on the every now and then will barge in and come be a part of the stream. So your family chooses, the people who bury you, your family chooses whether you'll come back or not, right? If the circumstances are not something that, they want to re-invite, you'll have one very small, very quiet burial, which I have seen about 2 times now, right? One very small, very quiet burial if you're not being invited back. And you're usually not invited back based on the circumstances of your life, right? Based on the circumstances of your life. Do we wish to repeat what just happened with the existence of this person? If not, then it's usually one small burial, one small funeral, just quiet, that kind of thing. So where are we at? But there's another layer to the choosing to reincarnate as well, right? So there's another layer. Maybe I'll get to that in a second. So remind me if I forget to tell you the other world layer, the layer in the other world. So first time here, do you believe that we're in hell in this physical All right. Do I believe we're in hell? Okay. I go outside and the sun feels good, right? I put my feet in sand, it feels good. When the wind blows, it feels good. When I drink water, it feels good. And when it's nighttime and it's cool, it feels good. When I see light, I'm happy. When I see dark, I'm calm. When I sleep, it feels good. When I wake up, it feels good. When I eat, it feels good. When I talk to people, it feels good. So so this this kind of nihilistic idea of the world is a very European thing. And in African thinking, we don't do that, right? This is heaven. If there's a heaven, we don't talk about heaven and hell. That's not what we talk about. Heaven and hell is within, right? But if there is a heaven, it's this earth right here, right? Give me a description of heaven that isn't a lesser version of the earth, right? Are you going to tell me that, the streets are made of gold? Okay. It's got gates. Okay. Clouds. Right. Give me a description of heaven that doesn't sound like a lesser version of the earth. Every single sensation you experience in this earth feels good, right? And if for some people, even pain, every single sensation, you piss, it feels good. This world is 100% enjoyment. Our ancestors and our people look forward to coming back to it again and again and again and again and again. This world is 100% enjoyment, right? There's this kind of European, like, oh, the world is misery. Oh. We don't do that. That's not how we think as African people. I'm going to be a lot more strict about stopping, like, Europeanisms and, like, Americanisms and Westernisms and from seeping into what I'm discussing, because it really throws off the perspective, right? The African perspective celebrates life. So you could never say that this is hell. That's madness, right? It doesn't make any sense. Even if you're sad, right? Once you're done being sad, you're going to feel good, right? So that's the ultimate nature of the world is enjoyment, is feeling good. So no, it's not hell, it's heaven. Hey, Namdi, can you close the door? Is it possible to reincarnate before your death? Yes, absolutely. It is. Yeah. So it is. Namdi. Woman, let me get my son to close the door. For some reason, I don't focus as well when the door's open. Namdi Bachuzo. I think he's in the bathroom. So, can you reincarnate before passing? Yes, you absolutely can. This usually happens. And so I'm going to explain how reincarnation works, and you're going to kind of understand why that is, right? So according to Odinani Igbo, those of you who are veterans to the channel, you may already know this concept. But give me a second. I got to close this door. All right, where was I? So those who are veterans of the channel, you're going to already understand the concept of the four essences. Our ancestors believe that a human being is made of four essences. You have four things that make you exist. There's chi, eke, there's your chi, there's your eke, there is your agon, and there's your mo. The part of you that reincarnates is that agon that I'm talking about. It is also referred to as your chi uwa, your worldly chi. But maybe I'll explain that in a minute. But that's not really what I'm focusing on. So we're going to call it your agon, right? When you are created, your chi is your creator. It is your creator and your controller. Based on whatever language you speak, you probably have a word for it. If you want to say it's your God, go ahead and say it's your God. If you want to say if it's your spark, right, your divine spark or your divinity, that is also, it's all accurate. Those are all descriptions. It is your creator and your owner and your holder, your sustainer, your chi. The thing that brought you into the world is your chi, right? Eke is your chi coming into reality. Now, your eke manifests as your physical body, right? You as a parcel of creation, but it also goes beyond that, right? So, for example, if I roll a ball, if I roll a ball down a hill, not only is the ball going to roll, but also the eke of that ball is going to be the ball, the rolling, the trajectory that it's going, what's going to happen in the past, future, present. It's just the entire action manifesting and how it impacts the world and the ripple it creates through creation. So your eke is the big universal you, right? There's that. So there's your eke. There's your agun, right? Your agun. Agun is a very interesting part of a person in Odinhani and Igbo, and that's probably going to be the main focus of what we're talking about today. Your agun is your reincarnating spirit. This is the part of you that when you pass away, these four essences go their separate ways, and the agun begins the process of reincarnating, of coming back again. Now, why does agun do this? Agun is the energy, or the abara, I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong, or the abara that is it is the part of you that is connected to the mind of the universe and is the part of you that is connected to the mind of the creator. So it is all knowing, all seeing. And that specific agun that you have that is a part of your essence has a purpose for existing. It is the part of you that contains your purpose for existing. When you pass away, your four essences, and then your more, which is the one I usually list forth, that is your unseen self. It's a part of you can't see. It is your spirit. It is your aura, right? It is a spirit. It is an aura. But the part we're focusing on is that third part, is your agun, your universal mind, and your reincarnating self. When you pass away, this part of you begins the process of reincarnating again. It first returns to your chi and reunites. Now, this reunion is possible if the agun lived as it was supposed to in the previous life, right? If it was lived the way it was supposed to in the previous life. If it kept from abominations and things like that, and I'll explain that in a minute. But the agun reunites and it has its mission reaffirmed, right? So think of like the universe as a cloth, right? Which our ancestors do. They call it ogodokamosu or komosu. Ogodokomosu, as a cloth. And every single thing that's in existence is a thread going into existence and out of existence and into existence and out of existence and into, right? That thread, the part of you that's a thread, is your agun. So you live, it's up. When you die, it loops down, it comes back up, it loops down, it comes back up. And it is doing this for a purpose. It has a path that it's moving through generation after generation, year after year, and so forth, as a part of the big design that Chukwu is creating in the living universe, right? And so this part of you, your agun, first goes to your chi and then returns to eke. Now, what is eke? I said that the eke is you manifest, right? So eke on a bigger scale is the universe itself. Everything is creation. Eke, everything is creation. So it returns back to creation, right? A lot of people say it returns back to Ana, the earth. Same thing, right? It returns and it has its mission reaffirmed. I'm coming into you, which is the world. I'm coming into you for a specific purpose. Maybe I'm coming to have 7 children and start a youth football league and I don't know, befriend this person and that person and so forth. There's something that's coming into the world to do, part of that design that is weaving in and out. And then that eke, that universal mother, she'll say, okay, if you're coming into the world, here are my rules. You're not going to do this, 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 and this, right? That type of thing. And if you keep this off fall, which I can explain if you guys are curious, but I think some of you know what that is. If you keep this off fall, the thing you are wishing to do, it will manifest in full. And then through that, the universal mother, you come out through a woman, right? The universe is a version of, or the earth is a version of the universe. And a woman is a version of the earth. It is all the exact same energy, all the exact same pipeline or channel or gateway into the world, right? A woman possesses that power, the power of Omumu. And so you are, after that, the earth will choose the mother you come through, will choose the family you'll come through, and a whole lot of different things about you, right? And so you reincarnate back into the world. Now, you don't remember, of course, you're not going to, I mean, some people do, but you don't remember the pact you made. You don't remember the promise you made. You don't necessarily remember the purpose by which you come into the world. But it is written all over your body. It is written all over your body through lines known as akaraka, right? Akaraka. That's why eke, another name for eke is akaraka. You understand? So it's written all over your body, and it goes beyond just the palm. Akaraka means the etchings on the palm, right? The etch also means the etchings on the spirit, but again, that's why Kedu is different. We don't just teach Akai as palm. Akai is also, it actually means spirit, but that's a whole different thing. You sign up for Kedu, we'll learn about that there. So these etchings on your palm extend throughout your entire body. So you have a whole bunch of different lines on you here and there, that kind of thing, so on and so forth. There are, so for example, now, and those lines, they make particular shapes and patterns. If you have like an X on your forehead, this means that you as a person you are able to be a mouthpiece for the Abara, for spirits that supersede humanity, right? If you have an X on your forehead, just different things like that. So your whole story is written on you, right? But then also there are certain things about you that point back to that purpose of existing. If you're tall for a reason. If you're short for a reason. If you were born to this mother or this father in this time, it happened for a reason. All of these things must happen and must exist for you to manifest that full thing. That's why I was saying earlier, in Igbo, we never say something like earth is hell or life is hell. You understand? It's life affirming. All of these things, we accept it because it is supposed to be the way it is, right? And when maybe age or experience gives us enough wisdom to see that everything had to happen the way it happened for things to pan out the way it did, then we now realize we begin thinking like an ancestor or an elder, right? That type of thing. So I don't even remember what the original question was, but the agun is a part of you that reincarnates, right? Let me see if I can find the original question. I don't even remember. Hey, Jada, ndewo. Kenny King, love you too, bro. Ndewo, love you too. I totally agree. Stop your eccentric perspectives in these discussions. Yes, yes. It is something that we have to halt. It is something. So I'm going to really like when you start saying some old something real alabaster, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop you, and I'm gonna address the specific thing. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, do we choose if we reincarnate, or is that a choice of God? Okay, yeah. So okay, that was where the question was. So when you're reincarnating and you're at that stage where you're entering the earth again, the earth can reject you. The earth can reject you because you can commit abominations in the world. You can commit aru in the world, and your family doesn't know. And maybe you didn't experience punishment in real time, but when you return back to the earth, she'll say, no, the last time I let you hear, this is what you were, this is what you did. I'm not with this. And you're not coming back. You're not reincarnating until that thing is atoned for by your living relatives. Now, what happens next is your relatives are having dreams or visions, and things will start happening to them that lets them know, hey, there's something you need to rectify, which happens a lot with families at home. Right? There's something you need to rectify, that type of thing, and then you come back. So, all right, let me see if there's any more questions. Is it possible to reincarnate before your death? Okay, anyways, that was the original question. Yeah. So yes, it is possible to reincarnate before your death. That part of you, that agon, can begin its journey even before you die. Usually at a very old age. once you start, I guess what we'd call losing your faculties, right? Maybe you're forgetting things and so on and so forth. That part of you has already began the journey of going. Your agon has already began coming back. You understand? And it's a great thing to live to experience that, right? If you live to experience that, we'll say that this is the death of, but you died in the time of your chi. And this is a good death, a very well celebrated death. So you live long enough to start getting Alzheimer's and forgetting and slowing down and really feeling the blessing of old age. You understand? Really feeling the blessing of old age. Once that starts setting in, then we know that this person passed in the time of their chi. This person passed in a way that we're going to celebrate and that we hope to pass in the same way, right? That kind of thing. And your agon then has that, because your agon begins the journey. Now, why does it look this way? Because everything that your agon comes into the world to do, it is fully equipped to do that thing. So all of these different gifts you have, your ability to think and remember, all of the things that make you human are embedded in that agon spirit, right? Not saying that old people aren't human, but are embedded in that agon spirit. And when it goes away, those faculties then begin the process of gradually fading away and so on and so forth. And you begin to realize it's not just me. These things didn't just come from me. They were given to me for a time. I lived past the time of them being here. Mission accomplished. Now it's coming into the world as the next child. My wife is was her grandmother in a previous life. My wife was her own grandmother in a previous life. And her mother was pregnant with her, and they went to visit the grandmother. And the grandmother said, "That's me in your stomach." She goes, "That's me in your stomach," right? And a few days later, I have to ask her how many days after that, she passed away. She actually passed away in like a bad accident. She was blind, and her rapa caught fire, and that whole thing. So she passed away, but before passing, she told her mother, "That's me in your stomach," and then she passed away, and then she was born as her mother. Now, typically, people do afa, a divination to figure out came back as who, and so on and so forth. And there's different methods, but most commonly I see afa. But I am of the somewhat controversial opinion that women tend to know when they're pregnant. Women that are in touch with themselves, they tend to know. They tend to know who it is. They'll feel this is the essence of this person that just passed. That's in me. I know it. The person will start visiting them in dreams, so on and so forth. But it's controversial. I've heard people say, no, 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 you have to do afa. I believe women know, right? If you experience somebody and then you experience that person again in your stomach soon after, you're going to get the same vibe, same moi, or the moi. So yes, it's possible. My grandmother passed 3 years ago. I don't feel like she had a proper burial. Is it late to perform a proper burial? No, it's not late. No, it's not late. Um, if she, okay, I'm assuming she was buried into the earth. That's proper burial number one. If you had a wake keeping, in the West we call it y'all. I'm just kidding. It's called wake keeping in the West, right? Wake keeping. I'm keeping you awake. I'm awakening you. I'm asking you to come back. That whole burial tradition is African. The idea of burying somebody to the earth for them to return is 100% an African tradition. It's where it comes from. It's what it is. You understand? But maybe as it travels through the world, people forget why they're doing certain things. Why am I putting this person in the ground? Why am I having two funerals? So on and so. It's just the tradition. It's the I kind of no. It comes from the ancestral understanding of how to do it. So if the person was buried and had a wake, I think that's adequate, or I strongly believe that's adequate. If not, you can maybe have a memorial. A memorial is adequate. Have a memorial for that person. Invite family members. Use it as a time to unite with all the people that knew her. Hey, I was thinking about grandma. I was thinking about her, and I wanted to have a memorial and just kind of get together and things like that, and so forth. That's adequate. You're inviting her to come back. You're celebrating that previous life. There's another tradition we do when the child is in the stomach. Children will come and sing to that child. And it's inviting the child to come into the world. You're inviting the child to come in. That this world is a good place. I'm asking you to come, that kind of thing. You're inviting. So there's a lot of the people who are living invite you back, right? They invite you back. And the earth responds. The earth responds, the womb responds, the universe responds, right? Because as the earth is bringing you back, okay, you're coming back to be this person, that kind of thing. Those invitations, they matter and they carry a lot of gravity and weight. right? This is why we honor, one of the many reasons we honor our ancestors. If when you honor your ancestors, when you say their name, when you give to their altar, you are inviting them into your life, you are inviting them back into the world and so forth, right? It all ties together. It all ties together. Okay, all right. So Victor Moluku. Hey Victor, we haven't talked in a while. How you doing, man? Victor Moluku says in there, well, all right, is it possible? Okay, I already read that one. Grandmother passed. Okay, is there no free will because when you incarnate? Uh, um, it's what will be has been written. What will be has been written. So your reincarnation, how it goes about that cycle of weaving the thread through life and death to create that string through creation, it has already been written. We already know this thing is going to extend 8 feet to the west, and then I'm going to tie a knot and clip it, right? That kind of thing. So it's already been written. That kind of thing. We're on a ride. So that's part of the reason I don't believe that there's free will. My market day is Eke. What does that mean in terms of doing ritual work on them? Your market day is Eke. This is the day, very unbelievably powerful day. Unbelievably powerful day. Eke is the senior sister of the 4 market days. So on Eke day, that would be the day you would do your altar work and things like that, right? You go to your ancestors, you call their names, you greet them. The thing I did earlier with the kola nut is I said, um, different elements names. I think I said the sky and the earth. I think I said this. I'm kind of stream of conscious when I do it, so I don't remember. I think I said the sun and the stars and the sand. I think I said I definitely said the 4 market days. But all I'm doing is I'm greeting these elements. So you're going to be greeting your elements on your day on Eke Day. Eke Day is your market. It's your Iiwa. It is your universe. It is your gateway into the universe. What will come to you spiritually will come to you by way of Eke Day. What will go from you by way of Eke Day. On Eke Day, you are spiritually open. This is where you're most powerful. So this is where you're manifesting. This will happen. This will happen. We will have more life. We will have more children. We will eat more. We will be more wealthy and prosperous. We will grow stronger. We will overcome those who wish to overcome us. These are the day. Eke Day is the day you say those manifestations because your market is open, right? Your light is brightest. You understand? Right? As the day you came into the world, there's a reason you came on that specific day. Iwunweke, Nweke is one of your names. So yeah, you do your spiritual work on Eke. You can do it on any day, but just know that if you do it on Eke, it's different, right? Adema. Thank you for helping us change our perspective. I appreciate it. Yeah, we don't do that. Oh, the earth is hell. I'm not making fun of the guy who said it originally. We don't do none of that. What is that? Nietzsche? All that bullshit. We don't do none of that, man. We love life. We love the earth. No matter what these goddamn people throw at us, we're still smiling. We're still happy. It's an unbreakable spirit, right? This is heaven. This is paradise. This is earth has every single imaginable thing plus you need to enjoy the experience of being here, the blessing of being here, and yourself. You understand that we don't all have good lives, I guess, right? Um, and so forth. But a lot of African thought will tell you that you're not entitled to a good life, right? There's this Yoruba proverb. I can't remember how it goes. Um, but there's a lot of proverbs that point to the life. Hey, it's life, that kind of thing. But it's you enjoy it, that kind of thing, right? Enjoyment doesn't mean euphoric experience. Enjoyment means, wow, I got to feel this thing. You understand? I got to feel unhappy. I got to feel happy. I got to feel pain. Imagine if all that went away. It'd be miserable. So, what does it mean if you had a dream and woke up with the name Amadioha in your head? Hey! I read Chopology. It means that people should stop messing with you. It means that people should stop messing. If you wake up with the name of Madioha in your head, it means that people should stop messing with you. No, so Amadioha is an Abara, right? And Amadioha is what we call justice. Amadioha is what we call justice. Amadioha is what we call the best way to explain Amadioha is the highest law in the universe. Amadioha is the highest law, is the balancer, is what makes things right, is the judge, kind of right. Is if you want to say the Hiru, did I say Hiru? Heru? Okay, hint, hint, right? That kind of thing. That's Amadioha. So if you're waking up with Amadioha on your head, one of the things about the Abara is that they manifest as people, or they'll have certain connections to people, right? So if you have a connection to Agun, for example, you are going to be a Dibia, right? It's not that you have the opportunity to be or you have a chance. You are a Dibia. It has already happened. You are born a Dibia. If you are connected, if your Agun is on the driver's seat, you are connected to your Dibia. You understand? And that has a whole different understanding. If you have a connection to Amadioha is Amadioha, the man of the people, right? Amadioha, the man of the people, right? The man of the people, the free man of the people, the Lord of the people. You understand? What does that mean? Aha is the people. In the Oza title system, so Oza is an organization you join, and in a lot of communities, all the leaders are Oza. The men are the leaders of the community, and you go through different titles in the Oza system as you kind of like become like a if you become an Ozo, you're a living manifestation of this Amadioha energy, right? Of this Amadioha. You are that energy for the community where Adibia is Agon for their community, the healer and so on and so forth, right? But in this Ozo's community title system, the highest title is something called Oha. I'm saying it wrong. There's a soup. I always pronounce it wrong, right? So I say it like the soup, but Oha is the people. I'm trying to say Oha, Oha, the people, right? Oha, Oha, Oha. Yeah, the people. Oha is the people. So what does this all mean? That once you reach the highest title is Oha, and no living human being can ever have that title. So if all of the leaders of a community are in this organization, and the highest title in that organization is the people, and no one person can be that thing. What does that mean? It means that Amadioha manifests as the will of a people, as the will of a people. And what happens is the will of a people every now and then will choose a person to represent it. But ultimately that will of the people I mean, I don't want to say king, but is above, is the real law, is the true law, is the will of a people, is the true law. We had this really good discussion on Patreon about this, right? We had this like last week, we had this really good discussion about this. We were talking about Iwu Agon, the laws of Agon, right? The replay, I'm going to upload the replay tonight. So if you are a patron and you want to watch that replay, it's going to be up tonight, right? And so if you have Amadioha on your head, I'm telling you all these principles so you can kind of understand, right? So there's a chance that one of your purposes in life is to represent a people, your people, the people, to represent their will. You are not going there to be their leader or their ruler or their whatever. It is for you to allow the spirit of their will to move through you, to actualize itself in the world through you, right? Now, if you are a person who comes into the world as Amadioha, it requires an unbelievable amount of discipline, an unbelievable amount of courage. But if somebody put that on your head, you already have what it takes to do that thing. There's an ilu that says, and I love this one, when the chi of a blind man sends him into battle, it is already accounted for his blindness. Meaning that if your chi sends you into battle, you will win. Nobody can defeat you. You will win. You understand? But you must do it with full faith in that chi. So Amadioha being on your forehead means something extremely powerful, right? If I were you, I would, if you have an altar, I would have something that represents Amadioha on your altar. Any Kenga figure works. Anything like a ram head, that kind of thing, it works, and so forth. Anything that represents a ram horn, I would have that on your altar. Once a year on an Afo day, on the first Afo day of the year, I have it marked on the calendar. Patrons also get access to like my calendar, so you'll know which market day it is. But on Afo day, the first Afo day of the year, you give a big sacrifice. You give a big sacrifice, you give thanks and that type of thing to Amadioha. But otherwise, you keep Amadioha, something that represents Amadioha on your altar, and when you're giving, you make sure to give Amadioha because your spirit, your moi, is linked to that particular frequency, the Amadioha frequency. So yeah, having Amadioha in your forehead is a big thing, but with courage, you'll see that it's an extremely powerful thing. You cannot be defeated. What role do genetics play in reincarnation in regards to integration with melanin mixes with full melanin? Yeah, you lost me. I don't know what any of that means. I don't know what any of that means, but I do think that DNA is part of the reason I do believe in the concept of reincarnation, right? DNA is one of the reasons I believe in reincarnation. DNA is one of the reasons I believe that it has already been written. You have already been written. People are growing into one thing or another, but they're really unraveling, right? You're really revealing yourself. You're achieving what we refer to in Igbo culture as awele, right? The blooming or the manifestation of your chi. You understand? Our ancestors say, and I always use this analogy, that like a seed is already a forest. If you're looking at a seed, you're looking at the seed will go into the ground, right, which is its destiny. It's something it's supposed to do, right? And as time goes and the rains come and it sprouts and grows a branch and bird lands and it defecates and there's seeds there and they grow into something, that entire forest will fully manifest. But that seed was always that forest. From day one, that seed was always that forest. You understand? When it manifests into a full forest, you understand, you now look at the forest and you say that this thing has achieved awele, it has revealed its chi. You can now see its chi in full. Its chi was always a forest, but to you and Ofeke, or to me and Ofeke, it looks like a seed. It's just a little that all we can see is the seed. You understand? So I believe DNA is that for human beings, right? Now, I'm positive I'm not answering your question because I don't understand what you meant by eumelanin and phenomelanin. So if you want to explain what those two things are, I would appreciate it, and maybe I'd give a better answer. But as DNA to me is that seed, right? And what do Igbo, what do Africans say about your ancestors and you? You're all one part of the same tree. You're all the same person. Me and my ancestors are the exact same person. If you're seeing me, you're seeing my ancestors. You understand? And then, the Europeans go, oh, this is the African religion and the African belief system. And then later on, they go, we have now discovered this thing called DNA. And it turns out that you're a composite of the people that came before you. And in a way, you're almost the same thing as them in a different form. And it's just one kind of continuum and right? That kind of thing. But they won't go back and say, okay, yeah, that thing that them Africans were saying about them ancestors, yeah, it's true. So DNA is if you need the hard evidence of the relationship we have with our ancestors, right? So the same way I wake up in the morning and I stretch my hands, and maybe I'm hungry, I eat, I'm taking care of my body. I also need to take care of my full extended body, my aka, right? My hakaraka. I need to take care of that eke, the entire full universal body, which means acknowledging my ancestors, which means acknowledging my ancestral land, which means acknowledging all of the different things that go into creating me and making me my existence possible, because I'm grateful for that existence, right? If I say, hey, can I borrow a pencil, and you give me a pencil, I'll say thank you. So if my ancestors give me life, I'm going to thank them. If the water gives me life, I'm going to thank it. If the sun gives me life, I'm going to thank it. If the earth gives me life, I'm going to thank it, because all these things are more significant than a pencil. But I thank you for the pencil. I thank all these things for life, right? And then somebody from the outside will see and say, "Oh, yeah, they're worshiping the sun. Yeah. They're worshiping the river. They're worshiping the god of the river." Yeah, that's what they'll say. But we're just thanking. It's the relationship we have with creation, right? We don't, gratitude does not end at humanity, right? Gratitude, personhood, rights, honor, respect, all the things we reserve for humans, we actually go out of our way to find different ways to extend those things be into all parts of creation. We acknowledge the stars, we acknowledge the earth, all these different things, right? Because without them, this reality wouldn't be what it is. And they deserve that. And if I can thank somebody for a pencil, I can thank the sun for giving me life, right? That kind of thing. Do you offer palm reading services? No, I don't. No, I don't. Um, Wait, so basically we're smaller versions of the bigger whole. Yes, we are. We are the seed. We're already a forest, but we don't know it, right? Most people walk around, you don't know you're a forest. You think you're a seed. You're actually a forest. Odinani is about re-exploring that forest, acknowledging the fact that no, I am a forest. You understand? Though I look like a seed, I'm actually a forest, right? Though I look like a person, I'm actually a universe. I'm actually a big thing. When you see somebody's ancestral altar, it's really a map. It's a map of that universe. You ever see like a little figurine or whatever of the universe? It'll have the sun on the universe galaxy. It'll have the sun and Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and so on and so forth, right? And they'll be, maybe they'll be showing how they rotate or the order. That's an altar. That's an altar to the galaxy. Right? That's what an altar is, right? So you do the same thing. You put something that represents you. You're the sun or your chi. You're the sun of your galaxy, your chi, right? Ihu chigi, the face of your chi. You'll put something that represents it. And you'll put something that represents all your planets, your ancestors. And for example, the person that said that they had the Amadioha on their head, that's okay. That's all the evidence I need. I'm going to put Amadioha is in my orbit. Amadioha is in my orbit. That big orbit, that universe that's you, is known as your Eke. Some people will call it your Ezumezu. Some people will call it your Akaraka. It's all the same thing, right? It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. If you want to know the difference between the African way of thinking and the non-African way of thinking, the African, I'm skipping subjects, but I'm going back to something I was talking about before. The African way of thinking extends humanity. It projects humanity outwards, right? The other way of thinking shrinks it, tries to hog it. I'm the human, right? I'm the human, right? And then anything different from me is less and 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 less human. You understand, right? Because the Abrahamic books, say that humanity is the center of everything. You understand? And we, in the Odinani, we say that we are a part of everything. But this thing that we think is so special about us as human beings, it is a beautiful thing to see in a tree. It is a beautiful thing to see in the forest. It is a beautiful thing to see in the sky. So we actively see it. We actively seek it. When you seek it, you'll see it. That type of thing, right? So the way we thank each other, we thank these different things. The way we respect each other, we respect these different things, and so on and so forth. You're extending this thing out, out, out. And when you start doing that, your perspective changes, right? What type of questions are we answering? Honestly, I'm answering any question, but the topic is actually reincarnation. Reincarnation, right? The nervous system, okay? What does it mean when you have the X engraved in your palm? I guess I would have to know where it's engraved, and so forth. What does it mean in Odinani Ndibo if one has... Wait, what does it mean in Odinani Ndibo if one has a hole in the left ear? Oh, it means... It means you're probably Nigerian, like a hole born in the upper ear. Both of my kids have the same thing. That little hole there, I think it's like right here. Both of my kids have the same thing. I don't know what it is. Health wise, they say that if you're a black person, it's okay, but if you're not, it's a sign of something else. But I don't know what it means as far as the Igbo tradition goes. I'm sure there is a meaning. I just don't know. You understand? I don't know. I don't know. But both of my kids have it, and I'll try to find out. Bother me about the answer. If you're on Patreon or if you're on Instagram, every now and then ask me. I'll try to get an answer for you because I need to know because both of my kids have it. I don't have it. My wife doesn't, but both of my kids. So I think it's like some kind of Nigerian trait. I'm reading a book about past lives. Trapland. Is there anything in the book that you found interesting? Trapland is saying that they are reading a book about past lives. So anything you find interesting in the book, let me know. Go ahead and share it. Also, is it possible to be reincarnated from multiple? Is it possible to be reincarnated from multiple people? Yes. So we used to have an in-house Debia in our Patreon. I'm considering bringing that back because a lot of people are asking for things that would require a Debia. But we had an in-house Debia on our Patreon, and there was an individual who is a reincarnation, or the Debia was able to find out they're a reincarnation of two different people in one body. But it is unbelievably rare, right? Unbelievably rare. I just got a text message, Siberia and Dewa. All right. So also, is it possible to be reincarnated from also? Okay, you already answered that. If you were married to a slave trader family in the past life, would you break ties with them in this lifetime? If you're married to a slave trader family in a past life, would you break? If you're married to a slave trader family in a past life, would you make ties? I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary. Um, it would depend, other than slavery, other than enslaving a person, it would depend what that person did, right? Um, but you that like a past life marriage, that's kind of it's over. If that makes sense. It's not something. Okay, the reason I'm having a hard time giving you an answer, it's not really something you need to worry about in the present, right? It's not something you need to worry about in the present. You can't go back and change the past. It's not something you need to worry about in the present. I mean, I've been trying to think of like how to say it, but yeah, it's not something you can change. It already happened. Um, I doubt you're still married to the person in the past life. You guys came back again and married each other again. I doubt that happened. That's very rare. Um, and even if it did happen, they're probably not a slave trader in this lifetime, right? So I don't know. I'm just learning my Igbo roots, so how do I figure out if there's things in my family history I need to atone or complete? It's a super good question. Oftentimes, okay, so there's an ilu that says Madojuchi, or sorry, Madojuji, Madoju Dibia Juchia. So when a person asks the Dibia asks their chi. The first place I always tell people is that your chi is going to give you that answer, right? Anything you're asking me, ask your chi. So the next question is, how do I ask my chi? People have different ways of doing it. Maybe I can talk about that in a little bit. But um, if you're having disturbances, right? If your family's having disturbances, so for example, at home you'll have a situation where for some reason none of the women are able to get pregnant. You may have a situation where trying to think of another example I've seen. Another example I've seen is like for some reason all the first sons would pass away before getting married, things like that. That's when you start investigating, okay, something weird's going on. Maybe there's something we need to atone for and so forth. Most people, the average person, you don't have anything to worry about. You're fine. There's nothing you need to atone for. In Odinani, we believe in law, and then we believe in Iwala, which is the law of the land. So our ancestors ask the land, what are your laws? How do we live in accord and peace with you, right? How do we honor you? How do we live in accord and peace with you? And the land reveals to them what the land's laws are. I joke a lot about Christianity, but when you see that part in the Christian movie, you see that part where I'm describing this so goofy. Where Moses is talking to the burning bush and he gives him the Ten Commandments. It's the same thing. These are the laws of the land you're about to enter. These are the laws of the land here, that kind of thing. And so typically those laws will look like abominations against the land. We will see incest, murder, incest, um, taking from the non-living, taking what doesn't like taking from the non-living, incest, murder, taking from the non-living. Um, I'm trying to think of something that are universal, right? So it's usually things like that, things that are like in all cultures. It seems for some reason every single culture seems to have a problem with this idea. Some exceptions here and there, that kind of thing. So when those abominations are committed, um, usually there's a disturbance in the family. There's a disturbance, you understand? And that disturbance, when you go seek help, you'll now see this is actually what's going on, so on and so on and so forth. So if there's things in the past that need to be atoned for, oftentimes the DBO will reveal that to you through Afa. Oftentimes your chi can reveal it to you through dreams, or your chi can reveal it to you through disturbances. These are three ways to look. These are three ways to know it. Is cremation a bad thing or is it better? We don't do cremation in Igbo culture. We don't do cremation. We got to put the person in the earth. Now, if somebody is cremated and you put the ashes to the earth, I guess same thing. But it's not ideal. It's not ideal. So thank you. My family's holding a memorial for her then. We want her to come back. He said she may also already be back, but just to be safe, I'm super happy you made that decision. Circle back and let us know how the memorial went. I really love to hear things like that. That's awesome. How many times do we reincarnate and what's the final stage? So people say 7. Nibo say 7, like we reincarnate 7 times. So it's funny too. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So with Kedu, I plug. We have an Igbo language school called Kedu, and we teach the Igbo language and the ants. Like we make sure you understand how our ancestors are using this, is how our ancestors use this language, rather than like just telling you a bunch of vocabulary and abe chiri and all that other that kind of thing, right? I'm going to give you a perfect example, right? So Ndibo, whenever they want to compliment a very pretty girl, right? Or oftentimes when you compliment a pretty girl, you'll say asanwa. You'll use the term asanwa, right? If you ask somebody, the average, non-Odinani person, I don't know, I don't like that term, right? Because Igbo, Odinani is the same thing, right? So the average person who's not aware, if you ask them what does that mean, they mean, oh, that's like a very pretty, very on top of it, get her game girl, that kind of thing. Asanwa means seventh child, right? Or child of 7. What does this mean? This means that you are implying that this person has been in the world 7 times. They're on their last trip. And because they've been here so many times, they move through life very gracefully, right? They found out how to make themselves look good. They walk good. They talk good. They're just excellent, right? They're just excellent. They've achieved excellence. They're a veteran in this living thing. So when you see that, you say, hi, asa, that type of thing, 7, right? 7. So you reincarnate 7 times, right? So this is how Kedu works. This is a little sneak peek, I guess, right? We don't just tell you what the word is. We try to tell you what's behind it so that it sticks, right? So now it's going to be hard for you to leave this live stream and not know that Asa is, in a casual term, a beautiful woman or an excellent woman, a woman who's on point. On point is a good one. A woman who's on point, typically a woman who's on point. But what we're really talking about too is somebody who has been here over and over so many times that they've mastered it. So people on their 7th lives, it is said that they move through life very gracefully. They move through life with as if they've done it before, right? If you have played video games before and you've tried to beat a level 7 times, you're going to play it that 7th time differently than when you played it the first time. So it's kind of like that. Igbo language is beautiful, even though I have no clue what you're saying. Sign up for Kedu now. Join us at Kedu. I myself, I'm still learning. I have a thick American accent, right? And then I have to be like, if I'm not in like a good mood, words don't come to me easily. I have to be kind of in a good mood for words to come easily. So I'm still learning. And part of that is just I'm out of practice. I don't practice enough. I don't get a chance to practice enough. My wife and I speak, And now my son and I speak. I actually signed my son up for Kedu Kids, so he's in our kids program. I posted a video recently of him, like his favorite game is called Space Flight Simulator, where you like make rockets and stuff. So his project at the end of the quarter was to explain how to teach me how to play the game but use Igbo. So me and him are speaking a lot more Igbo. Me and my wife speak a lot. We almost always speak now. And so I'm getting it's improving, right? I'm improving, but for me, I'm still working on my Igbo too. I'm about at like I'm a little bit. Maybe I should sign for Igbo 3 if I were in Kedu. I should be at Igbo 3. I can speak it, but I need to just polish up, that kind of thing. So yeah, sign up for Kedu. Uh, how does the population keep increasing with the reincarnation? Oh, super good question. So a single person's agun can reincarnate into multiple children, right? A single person's agun can reincarnate into multiple children. So my cousin Emeka, and I'm sorry to say this, but I don't remember the third person, but there's another person. We all reincarnate from the exact same person. My sister, I think my cousin Chinelo, my cousin Chichi, um, and a couple of others, they all reincarnate from the same woman. My brother, my youngest brother, and my cousin, I'm like airing out my family's names and stuff. So my cousin Chizoba, my cousin Izuna, my youngest brother, and I'm trying to think if there's a third. Those are the three I know, or fourth. Those are the three I know. They all reincarnate from the same person. And so one Agun can come into the world as multiple children. So when this happens, you're going to have a natural connection to that person. You're going to move together the way twins typically do. You see when twins kind of like they have a nonverbal understanding of each other and things like that. My cousin Emeka, who him and I are reincarnated from the same person, when we were at home, we would always play with each other. We'd always find each other. That was like because then we were kind of always on the same frequency, right? We like to get lost in projects and lost in our own world and create things and things like that, and so forth. Neither of us were very physical growing up, right? We're not like sports people, things like that, but we're super creative and we're super into culture and things like that. We used to do this thing called Nwechim, where it's like, I don't know if you guys are from like the Uru, Imo State area. Anybody from there, you might know about Nwechem. And Nwechem is when little kids around what we in the US would call the fall, little kids make their own masquerades. And then they go house to house and dance, and then they get money. And so the big thing about Nwechem is you want to have the coolest one. You want to have the one that's really like is going to really earn you something. And so we had the idea to have like the grown-up Nwechem, the adults, and then the baby Nwechem. And it was a hit, right? It was a big hit in our town, or like our kindred, our family compound, that kind of thing. It was a big hit. And then my older cousins came and built this like gigantic, well, it was gigantic to me because I was like 5, 6 at the time. They built this gigantic thing and blew us out of the water, right? And so me and Emeka went back. And anyways, why am I telling all this? So Emeka and I were kind of on the same wavelength about a lot of stuff. We're very similar to each other. When we were little, we didn't necessarily need to use verbals to communicate. We just kind of be on the same wavelength and things like that. And it tends to be like that with the person you reincarnate with. Reincarnation happens within the family. So it's going to be somebody within your family. And it's usually somebody who you guys are born around the same time. All right. So my grandpa passed 2016 or 2015. My son was born, oh, that's going to sound bad, 2017, or 2018, one of them. And so a lot of the children born around that time are going to be my grandfather, right? Now, if the person you're reincarnated into is welcomed back with fervor, if they're welcomed back well, they'll reincarnate into more children. If they're welcomed back with fervor, they'll come back with more children. So in the Igbo tradition, we usually welcome back people who were and we welcome back everybody who lived a good life, or just at least mediocre life and up. But if you lived a particularly exemplary life, you are very, very celebrated, and you come back into more children, right? If you, my dad says that it's you achieve 3 acts of Ipa, Ipa Chi, Ipa Mado, Ipa Akon. right? So ipa is like a cultivate, right? So if you cultivate your chi, if you cultivate others, if you help others grow, if you help others grow in the world, you make life better for others. And if you wealth, if you accumulate wealth in the world, or you make other people wealthy, or you become an avenue for wealth and that type of thing, right? Another thing about African thinking, wealth does not have a dirty name in our culture. It's not a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing, right? Just because people use it in the West and in Africa too to do bullshit doesn't mean that it itself is a bad thing, right? So that's Christian thinking. So Ibakon, right? You cultivated wealth. You were very successful. You were very abundant. Wealth does not just also include your monetary, though it's important. It also means you grew the family. You helped other people become wealthy. Then you're welcomed back with fervor. You're welcomed back with passion, and those types of people reincarnate into many children, many different children. A lot of children are born immediately after they die, right? And this is something our people see. Okay, this person died and there's 14 kids now. This person died and nobody can get pregnant. There's there's levels, man. There's levels. So that's how it explains the population. My son came back after passing, appearing to his father months later. Wow, long story, but we had a lantern continue mourning for him. He said, "That's beautiful. I love that." Which month are we in? Can you explain the meaning? Ah, you caught me. I would have to go and check. I've been so out of it these past few months. Some personal things going on, but I haven't looked at the calendar. If somebody who is a patron wants to check what moon we're in, I would appreciate that. I think we just recently transitioned. I would not be surprised if we are entering Onwa Alomchi, the women's moon. We're either entering it or in it because it's August. It'll fall in August this year. But before Alomchi, I think I want to say Ihenjoku, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know off the top of my head. I haven't looked at my calendar in a long time. Earth is perfect. There are some people on her who act like parasites. Wink, wink. Yeah. Hey, Chief. Wada. The highest. Chinyere Njokweri. There, well. Just learned that Amadioha and Kalu among. Yes, yeah. Amadioha. Amadioha. Kamalu. Kalu Akanu. Ofufe. Igwe. Ekwensu. Anyanwu. Different communities will use different names. It's the same thing they're talking about. Different communities will use different names. They're saying the same thing. Kamalu, Kalu Akano, Amadioha, Ekwensu, Igwe, Ofufe, Amadioha, Eze Eligwe. They'll all use the same different things, right? But it's the same thing. But all of those names is great because each of those names are great because they describe an attribute of that idea, of that spirit, of the Abara, that kind of thing. What about suicide? How do you cleanse the spirit of one who's taken their life? I Angela, if you want to email me or message me, I'm going to look into it for you. There's a very specific ceremony that's done. There's a very specific ceremony that's done, but if you can message me privately if it's something you want to figure out. Otherwise, try to ask me on another live when I have a better answer. There's a very specific ceremony that's done for unaliving yourself, and I would like to have the very specific answer to give it to you, but I don't know it right now. I don't have it. Yeah. A spider fell near my ear when I was reading a book on herbalism on Uriade. A beetle landed on me yesterday when I was so stressed out that all I did was take naps. And then a beetle landed on me and I was outside and I was like, what do beetles symbolize? And I went to look and it said, rebirth. And it's actually, ties into what we're talking about today. It's rebirth, new beginnings, things like that. And it gave me a good feeling. And then something really good happened right then. Something really good happened. And it alleviated my stress, right? James Johnson. Why is my... Oh, okay, I know this. Why is Isaac Derek? Love your perspective. Enjoy this earth, Adumma. Yes, enjoy it. Will is iron blood. He said it's true. It's true. Igwe, good. James Johnson says Will is iron blood. One of Amadioha's names is Igwe. Igwe is also iron. Igwe is also iron. Igwe is also sky. Igwe is also machine, like the thing that causes movement. The animating force or an animated force. Igwe. Igwe. Ademma. All of that, right? But outside of Kedu, they'll tell you, oh, Igwe, sky. Sky. Oh, it's more than sky. It's more than sky. I love that proverb. I don't remember which one though. Thanks. Again, new to my Igbo roots. How do I get proverb items? So I'm trying to, sorry, yeah, I don't know why I had my brain skipped. Duran, I'm working on that. So stay tuned. I'm working on being able to make those things available. Man is a seed of God, he said. Great points. Our ancestors already knew these things. I'm way behind, by the way. We're the most recent version of our ancestors, he said. Have you done a DNA test? No, I haven't done one. I just haven't prioritized it. I'd be interested. I'd be most interested in one, figuring out what kind of like genetic predispositions I may have, and then two, connecting to any DNA cousins I have in the diaspora, right? In the diaspora. I'm pretty sure I'm an Igbo person. I'm 300% sure I'm an Igbo person, but I want to be able to connect to DNA cousins in the diaspora. That'd be cool. So, journey of life. Sometimes I'll see people and I'll be like, man, I know this guy's from my village, but if I said it, they'll think I'm crazy. And a lot of Igbo people have that experience when they're in America. They're like, man, I know where this guy's from. But if I said it, hey, fuck you looking at me, don't tell you. I think I'm being weird or something. Eumelanin, 6 ether, Afro hair genetics, okay, versus pro-melanin, falling hair genetics, okay, African versus Neanderthal. Does Arobinago play a place in reincarnation? Earlier, I said that force, okay, how do I explain this? Yes, so when I was saying that your Agun does the reincarnation, your Agun is a spirit with 2 heads. One head is male, one head is female. The female head of Agun is Arobinago. Arobinago and Ne Agun are the same thing. A lot of times when you go to a Dibia, they'll tell you the condition of your Arobinago. They say that, okay, your Arobinago should be, they always use the term appeased. I don't like it, but it should be appeased. Your Arobinago, that kind of thing. Your Arobinago and Ne Agun, your female Agun, is the same thing. It's the same thing, right? Cool. That is the Agun that has, that is the part of Agun that has the universal mind attached, like that carries the universal mind on its head, right? The mind of the universe. So. I'd like to know more about Arobinago too. Maybe I should do a second video on Arobinago. My next video is going to be on Ogun, medicine. Ogun, medicine. One of Arobinago's name is Muogun, the spirit of medicine. Ogun, or just Ogun, right? That kind of thing. Yeah, so if you guys want a second video on Arobinago, there's a lot of things I didn't share. There's a lot of things I didn't want the video to go on for like 7 hours, but there's a lot of things I didn't share. For example, there are 3 spirits that that go into making Arobinago. So there's Arobinago, but within Arobinago there are 3 more spirits, right? It's Abiamiri, Abiaohia, and Abianketa, right? So it's like I'll use the term spirit. The spirit of the water, the spirit of the dog, which I can explain in another video about Arobinago if you guys want. So spirit of the forest, spirit of the dog, spirit of the water. All of these things go together to create Arobinago, right? Which is Nago, right? People ask me how many Abara there are, and it's an impossible question to answer because within Abara there's more Abara. And And within those, there's more Abara, and then those Abara have their own algorithm, which then has more in it. So it's you can't really explain it, but you can kind of explain the algorithm of how they all play with each other and work, and then from there you can piece things together as an individual. I had a dream that I got swept up under water by wind. Oh, is there an Igbo story related to that? Just curious because it seemed very ancient. Swept up underwater by the wind. Underwater by the wind. There is an Igbo story that says that, in a lot of Igbo stories, the water and the earth will have conflict. They don't get along. And so in the beginning of time, water and earth were kind of overlapping each other. And the world was very muddy. It was unsuitable for human life, right? And the force that created the balance was the fourth day, which was Nkwo. Nkwo is also wind. So on the first day is Eke, that's light. Second day is Uriye, that's water. Third day is Afo, which is earth, also sky. So earth and sky. And then Nkwo is wind. Came, the earth and the waters separated into their own place so that water is here, earth is here, and peace and balance was made between them. So if you have a dream where wind is sweeping you into the water, I think it's pretty significant. Water appearing in your dreams, usually a connection to Uri. The addition of wind is also very interesting. So the spirits of Nkwo, funny enough, speaking of Arobinagon, Arobinagon is the day of Arobinagon is Nkwo. Is Nkwo. You understand? Arobinagon's day is Nkwo. This is day number 4. It represents wind. It represents the breath of life. It represents do I want to say ether? I don't know if I want to say ether. No, I think I said okay. So it's wind, the breath of life, all those different things, all that, right? That type of thing. So all of that is Nkwo. Nkwo is also a day of correction, of balance, of making things right. It is the rescuer. It is the settler, the problem solver, that type of thing. Nkwo also has a close relationship to the just person, a just person. Again, balance, that kind of thing, all that, right? So that in Kemet they use the feather to represent a ma'at, right? They say that your spirit has to be lighter than a feather or something, or as light as a feather. And the feather is a physical manifestation of Nkwo. Nkwo. You'll see that when individuals make a vow to become a living ancestor, they will put 2 feathers, depending community, 2, 1, or 4 feathers in their cap. And with that feather, it means that you are vowing to be a just person. You're going to live a just life. You're not going to lie. You're going to live as your ancestors lived, and so forth. So wind and water. Water doesn't necessarily have those attributes. Water is closer to creativity, freedom, abundance, sustenance, renewal, healing, all those things. Wind, justice, balance, equilibrium, correction, completion. So the combination of those 2 tells me a lot. If you're a patron, just hit me up for a 1-to-1. We can talk further about it. All right. So I had a dream. Okay, I read that. Book talks about near-death experiences being linked to the past as well as trauma. Okay, now that sounds. What if you can post the title of the book? That'd be dope. Um, Yoruba Nana Buluku seems to be closest to Arobinagon. Seems to be the Orisha deeply connected to reincarnation. That's interesting. I don't know too much about Nana Buluku. I don't know too much about Nana Buluku, so I don't know too much about the Yoruba tradition. It talks about cool. It's an African book. Okay, cool. Life beyond. Okay, cool. You got the title up there. Is it spelled Asa? It's Asa, like 7 ASAA. 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 It's spelled Asa. Okay, somebody did it for you. Cool. Asa 7, Asa Pretty Girl, both sound different. No, the same thing. It's the same thing. How does it work for people taken into slavery, reincarnation thing? Um, yeah, I mean, if you're taken into slavery, you still have family, so it's the same thing. You still have family. Since reincarnation, even though families are separated, things like that, you still have family, so you're still reincarnated within family and so forth. You know, physical separation is not really, yeah. So since reincarnation is so important, what does it mean a community race is ridden with infertility? Are they cursed? Yikes. I wouldn't say cursed. I wouldn't say cursed. It could be a lot of things. It could just be maybe health issues. It could be the inability to, or maybe something genetic going on. But sometimes the earth shuts off the faucet, right? Sometimes the earth shuts off the faucet. Sometimes the earth, sometimes like, if you look at a lot of statistics, you'll start realizing that sometimes the earth shuts off the damn water. So, do you know why I'd be surrounded by water most of my dreams? To crave water. I don't crave water to drink it, but reasons I think I don't know. So, coffee and cake. It's interesting since I started this channel, uh, I get messages from Umuri more than anybody. But that typically means that you're probably an Uri person. And there's a lot that goes into that and that has a lot of meaning behind it. But I come to find that Uri people are the people that reach out to me the most. And so, a lot of you have already heard his answer, but you're probably a water person. So when you're reincarnating, when you're coming back into the world, you come into the world through four doors or four routes, right? Eke, Uri, Afo, Nkwo, right? If you come through Eke, your element is light, fire, that type of thing, right? Light, fire, then also the inverse, which is darkness, right? Light, darkness, fire, that kind of thing. If your day is Eke, the first day. Second day is Uriye, that's water, right? So if you're born on the Uriye day, your element is water. You have a connection to water on a spiritual level, right? This other one's connection to light and fire on a spiritual level. Afo, you have a connection to earth on a spiritual level. Nkwo, you have a connection to wind on a spiritual level, right? And so these things are most often communicated in dreams because dreams are like the neutral ground for all of these elements to communicate with each other. So they're communicated in dreams. You'll often see these things. Oriya people, from my experience, is not something I've read anywhere or anybody's told me, but from just having conversations, Oriya people tend to have what we call dinangwi and marry more than other people. So spirit husbands, spirit wives, spirit children, the whole world, the whole family of spirit connections that are connected to water. They tend to have it more. And I actually think that's probably why more of them reach out, more of you guys reach out to me. Is Ari connected to God in the Bible? Hell no. Where is his email? I had to leave real quick. I'll catch the replay. Recently, if I said I reincarnated from Izmir that I was born. Okay, that's cool. All right, it's over there. I don't know. You'd have to ask the person you went to. I have the same thought about dreams covered in gold jewelry. I was leading a war and then I'm captured. Isolation on a ship. Oh, wow. Sounds like an ancestral memory. Yes, please do a second video on Arobinago. I especially like the part about Agua here. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was asked about the DNA test, why I can't find any black Americans who match the continental. What? That's why I asked about DNA tests. I wonder why I can't find any black Americans who match the continental. There's a lot of people that match. There's a lot of people that find matches. And maybe, your family, didn't have anybody that went through the transatlantic human trafficking situation. So, if there is a connection between Njoku-ji and the spirit of nature, I talk about in one of your videos, I think you called it Morocco. Yeah. Yeah. Afifiana Morocco. Good memory. Yeah. Not necessarily the same thing as Njoku-ji. Mborogon is, again, associated with Arobinago, not necessarily Njoku-ji. I'm actually AA myself. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I saw Mazi and assumed. And I found some distant Igbo cousins. Yeah, people find Igbo cousins and Yoruba cousins and the Congo cousins all the time. Odinani is very layered. Everything is always Ikenga or Agum or something else. It's layered, but we're in a layered world, you know? This is how our ancestors explain existence. So it's an infinite well of things I can share so long as I'm privileged to have them revealed to me, as long as I'm privileged to have them revealed to me or taught to me or however they come. But there's an infinite well of things to be discussed and so on and so forth. But at the same time, it's very simple. It's very simple. If you understand chi eke, chineke, or eke na chi, which is probably more accurate, eke na chi, if you understand that relationship, just know that everything just repeats that. It's just repeat, 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 right? And so, okay, this is the eke elements, this is the chi element. They're going to have certain natures. And then in this situation, this is the eke, this is the chi, they're going to have certain natures. But it's all going to be tied to that original chi and eke. So know what eke is, know what chi is, and then just know that that combination repeats and repeats and repeats. So I'm talking about Agun, for example. Agun. Okay, cool. Agun, two-headed, one head. Okagun, male, chi, other head. Nagun, Arobinagun, eke. What I can say about Arobinagun, I can say about eke. What I can say about Okagun, I can say about chi. You understand? It's the same thing coming back in a different form, right? And then man, woman. Okay, woman, eke, man, chi. Okay, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's the same formula over and over and over. So sky and earth, eke, sky, chi. You understand? And so okay, man, sky. There's a connection between man and sky. If I can understand what it is to be a man by looking at the sky, I can understand what it is to be a woman by looking at the earth. Right? That's what it is. So it's not complicated. It's just looking into nature. I have two distant Igbo cousins too on Black American. He said, Kedu, is Anyanwu connected to Eke or Onkwo? Anyanwu is connected to Eke. And Ikuku Kamosu, Arobinagun. Yes, Ikuku Kamosu and Arobinagun are the same thing. I'm so happy you brought up the term Ikuku Kamosu, right? Because it's the wind of Kamosu. It's the winds of Kamosu, which is the same thing. But it's also, if you watch the Arobinagun explained video, you'll understand that that arrow thing is a life force coming from the feminine. So yeah, Nkwo, Arobinagun, Ikuku Kamosu, they're connected. So that's what I mean by, it took brilliance to put that together. So Nigerians, thank you for that. But that's what I mean by if you figure out one piece, you can start, oh, that's what it is over here. That's what there. And then it all starts coming together. That's why this thing kind of comes easy for me. Or maybe it's my chi. I don't know. Adema, that's great. Seniors, but I'm predominantly Nigerian. You're all predominantly Nigerian. Huh? In hoodoo, dreaming of fish means someone's pregnant. Yes. Oh, I don't know what it means as far as Ndio Dinani. I don't know what that means as far as Igbo people, but it makes sense. But yeah, I've heard that in hoodoo, dreaming of fish means pregnancy. I would not be surprised in the least way if it's the same thing in all the cultures on the continent. I could be wrong. I'm still looking for questions. Thanks for taking time to learn. Curious. I'm having fun today. I chose an Igbo handle for that reason. Yeah. I'm a reincarnate. Okay. Adeze O. I feel like I know Adeze O. Adeze O. Are you Adeze O Patreon Adeze O or a new person? It's dad, but I already born, so now I'm like interior incarnates. Okay. There's Igbo land in Virginia. A lot of Igbos who live Stratton, Virginia. Okay. Along the coast. Yeah, so One of, you would not believe the amount of people that watch my channel specifically from Virginia. Hold on, is it Virginia, Maryland, Kentucky? I've met everybody I know from Kentucky from the Medicine Shell. I think of all the states, probably Maryland or Texas probably are the highest, and then there's a lot of California too, and then Virginia again. Everybody I know from Virginia is from this experience that we're having together. And a lot of my Maryland, Kentucky, Virginia people are AA, Black Americans, so on and so forth. But then you look at their face and you know exactly where they're from, but you can't tell them. They got to find out themselves. And then they find out, you're like, oh, I found out I'm Igbo. I'm like, I know. And that kind of thing. The reason I'm saying all this is it's interesting because it's almost like an ancestral thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I'm not telling people, hey, you that looks this way, come check out this channel. But for some reason, when everybody turns on their little videos, in the Zoom chat, a lot of familiar faces in there in a way that I'm having a hard time explaining. So, yeah, I understand there's a large Igbo presence, and the reason I'm saying all this, there was a large Igbo presence in those areas. They deliberately sent Igbo people, enslaved Igbo people there, and without coincidence, a lot of the people that are part of our Patreon community are from there. So I don't think it's a coincidence at all. Is Algon like right brain and left brain? Maybe, maybe. My ancestral root is Fulani and Kanuri, but I have Igbo in my family tree. Does Odinani require direct lineage for practice? Not really. Not really. That's good to find out them. I was told I was Obanjim Miri, so I may have to do something to do that. Okay, you have to talk to that guy about it. Ancestral, we're Igbo, haha. Okay, I'm trying to find more questions. Gullah, South Carolina, a lot of Gullah people too. Let me not say a lot, but every Gullah person I've met's been through this experience. Oh, all right, guys, I think we have ran out of questions. Yo, okay, wait, can you please revisit the concept of conversing with your chi, like the actual process of speaking to your chi? Oh, okay, in order to speak to your chi is your creator, right? So you're not just talking to a regular force, you're not just talking to you're talking to the highest thing you are connected to, right? Your creator, your specific creator, that kind of thing. Now, ultimately, you are going to know how to connect to your chi better than anybody can tell you. But there are some basics I can share with you, right? You're going to need to wash your hands, wash your feet, wash your mouth, not in that order, wash your face, right? Or just take a shower before you do it, right? You're going to offer something to your chi. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Water is fine. Uh, I want to say some types of alcohols are fine, though. Yeah, alcohol's fine. Though sometimes people be like, "Oh, I had a dream and my chi doesn't want alcohol." I've heard that before. And so that's fine. It's a learning experience, right? You'll bring something, and then typically you will have an altar, right? If you're going to speak to your chi, you have to have something that represents you, and so you have to speak to that thing. You're really facing yourself, right? There's an ilu that says when a person searches for their chi, they find themselves. You understand? So an altar. If you don't have an altar, you can speak directly to the rising sun, right? To the rising sun. So you're doing this in the morning. You understand? You're doing this before noon. If it has to be noon or after, that's fine, just towards the sun, but ideally before noon. And you are doing what I just did earlier, the Iwaji, right? You're saying, I greet you. You understand? I greet you. You greet your ancestors, all these things. You're just saying good morning. That's how you talk to your chi. You don't like I say this a lot, but in because of the Abrahamic understanding of talking to the divine, it's kind of like I don't know how to explain it, but it's like master servant relationship, like conversation in that tradition. That's not what's going on here. You're talking to it the way I'm talking to you, right? If you see an Igbo person, and when I say Igbo, Odinani person, whatever, I know there's Igbo Catholics and shit, whatever. But if you see an Odinani person, I don't like using the term Odinani person because it makes it look like it's a different thing. You understand, right? So, and I can explain that later. But if you see an Igbo person doing theirs, they're sitting straight, they're talking, right? It's like you're talking, right? That kind of thing. Your chi is going to speak whatever language you need to speak. But I speak to my chi in Igbo because I am an Igbo person. If you have been an English speaker for many generations, I think it's more than fine. This is also controversial. A lot of people say, "Oh no, that's speak Igbo." That's not true. It's gonna Your chi speaks the language you speak, right? If you want to specifically talk to your Igbo ancestors, if you want to specifically use Oji, then you're speaking Igbo, right? Because when you're using Oji, you're going back to the beginning of time, right? You're going way back to the beginning of time. But if you're just speaking to your chief, just go ahead and whatever is comfortable for you, whatever is comfortable for you. I would highly recommend doing it in Igbo though, because it hits different. I would highly recommend doing it in Igbo though, because it hits entirely different. But if you must use English, sure, that kind of thing. And then you greet your chi. You know, my creator, I greet you. I come before you. I offer this, so on and so forth. And then you manifest, right? Today will be a good day. We will see growth today. We will see wealth today. We will see new horizons. We will awaken today. We will see connection. We'll see family today. You manifest. You say all the things that are going to happen. There's an ilu that says, Onyekwe, Chiekwe. What you will, your chi wills. So when you're speaking to your chi, you're telling your chi the things you will, right? I will a good day. I will peace. I will balance. I will healing. I will renewal. I will growth, right? I will actualization, right? See the difference? Actualization. Awele, actualization. Awele, the awele hits different. It hits different, right? That type of thing, right? One of the things I like to say is, I will receive today what my chi has allocated for me to receive. See, I don't know, that kind of thing. If you have to use English, use English. If you prefer to use Igbo and you can't speak, come to death row, right? Sign up for Kedu. That kind of thing. So yeah, you just you say what's gonna happen. You say what's gonna happen. It's not, oh please, oh please give us this thing. It's not that, right? It's this will happen, that will happen, that kind of thing. You understand? My rent will be paid in full. Right? I'll pay off this credit card. You understand? I'll get this radiator fixed. You understand? You will it, you will it, you will it, you will it. That kind of thing. Because there's really no difference between you and your chi. As you're saying it, your chi is saying it, right? AKA, don't go there and say nonsense. Don't go there and say something destructive or foolish or whatever. That kind of thing. And then it will be this way after willing it. And this is how it's going to be on Eke, Orie, Afọ, Nkwọ. Otu a ka ọ ga-adị n'Eke, n'Orie, n'Afọ, na Nkwọ. Tell me which one sounded, yeah. All right. One of them hit different from the other, right? He said, and then from there you go. So if you want to talk to your chi, clean yourself. You greet your chi wherever you go to greet your chi. If you have a sacred space you do that gives you peace and life and calm, that's good. Otherwise, the sun is perfect, right? The sun is the universal altar. That's the chi altar. Anytime you're building an altar, you're building a simulacrum of your universe, and the center is the sun, of course, right? So the sun, you understand? You greet the sun and you say these things onto the sun. It's going to be like this, we manifest this, we manifest that, so on and so forth. More often than not, people go there and declare their worthiness. So I had this really good conversation with someone on Patreon, I just really got his burp, by the way. Sorry, y'all. I had this really good conversation with someone on Patreon. He pointed out something I never thought about. This is such a nice perspective, right? It was such a nice perspective. But he says that if you look at the Ten Commandments, it says, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. If you look at the 48 laws of Ma'at, and the thing I'm telling you now is the same thing that they're doing in Kemet. It's the exact same. I know exactly what that 48 laws of Ma'at is. They're not really laws. They're not laws. It's a person saying, I have not. I have not. It's not thou shalt not. It's not something is telling you don't do this, don't do that. It is I have not. I have not. I have not. I have not. Right, and you have right and wrong within you. You can let me know where you stand. You don't need to read it somewhere. I'll stop killing people. You know what it is, right? I have not killed. My hands are clean. I have not put my face where it does not belong. I have not put my feet on the journey of someone else. I have not taken what does not belong to me. I have not coveted what is not mine. I have not. I have not. I have not. As opposed to thou shalt not. Thou shalt not. That's the fundamental difference. That's the fun. When I said, okay, we need to stop this European shit. There's a lot of, Inodinani, you can't do this. Inodinani, you can't do that. You can't. That doesn't even make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. And it's always like it's stuff that you can't even regulate, right? You understand? Now there's Iwala. There's laws of the land that, okay, you can't do that because it's based on your relationship with the land, your people's relationship with that land. Okay, you're not going to commit incest. You're not going to do that kind of thing, right? And if you do it, if your punishment does not come from humanity, it will come from what supersedes humanity. But either way, you did it to yourself. It's over, right? So oftentimes you go there and say, I have not, I have not, I have not. My hands are clean. My hands are clean. And I have what the ancestors call Hakan Kumoto, the upright hand. The upright hand. And it is the upright hand that receives. It is the clean hand that receives. The Igbo say that a child who washes their hand can eat with the elders. A child who washes their hands can eat with the elders, or a child who washes their hand can eat with the kings, right? That kind of thing. So in our culture, adults and kids, they eat separately. You understand, right? But if a child washes their hands like an adult, come, you can eat with us. Because the thing that allows us to sit here as elders and adults, you have that thing too, despite your size. Come sit down. You get it. You understand. You understand, right? That kind of thing. So that's what it is. I've washed my hands. I have not done this. I've not done that. Da, 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 da. Now, if you've done you've just been doing bullshit all week, right? You can't go to your chi and say, I haven't done this. I haven't done this. I haven't done that when you've done it. You understand, right? And you know what's good. You know what's right and wrong. Go out there and declare your purity and work on that. I'll be signing up for Kedu next month. He said, I'm definitely coming to death row. He said, yeah, if you don't want, yeah, if you don't want Puffy all up in your videos, come to death row, man. Okay, dope. All right, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in Kedu. My mom's side says West Indies. Okay, cool. I see your man. Yeah, I am fed up with. I'm fed up with it because there's this enthusiasm. One of the main things that drove me to like start my channel, all that stuff. I really can't explain what it is. There's just a whole bunch of stuff happening at the same time. But one of the threads was that I wanted to archive things in the most non-biased form possible. Now, there's always going to be pieces of me in the thing, and this is an honest person speaking to you. It's not a matter of I'm saying that I'm just coming here telling you what I think. I keep what I think the hell away from the whole thing. And I have been unbelievably blessed for doing this. It's been the absolute best decision I ever made in my life. Because the things that I thought were strange, the things I didn't understand, the things that I thought didn't make any sense are the things that I've learned the most from. Are the things that I learned the most from. The things that I, in my own bias, would have said, I don't know about that. Are the things I've learned the most from, right? And so I said, I'm just gonna eject all this stuff. I'm not even gonna just like put my, and if I give my own take, I'll be very clear. I think this, or this is how I experience that thing. But when you're watching my videos, when it's me, and when it's, something else, right? And so yeah, I just wanted, but then like I see, a lot of people come, these, this is the Igbo commandments, and they're just fucking stupid shit. Like, oh, we migrated from here, and we migrated from there. And you're talking like that's that nomad talk, right? Like we're nomads, like we're Europeans. You understand? We came from India. We came from here. We came from here. But you go to that person's village. You ask them, "Where'd you people come from?" They'll say, "We came out of the ground." we came out of the ground. Make sense out of that. Talk about you came from here. You came from here. Are you crazy? Are you mad? Oh, wait, I came from. Oh, he came from this. Okay, then you're not from here. You know what that means in our culture. You know what that means. That when you die, I gotta take your ass over to Israel. I can't bury you here. Are you crazy? All right, y'all. I hear y'all from Egypt too. There are plates in Igbo land older than everything you've ever seen in Egypt. You're talking about Egypt. I'm sorry, Phoenix. I'm getting very worked up about this thing. There are tools, and there are gardening tools in Igbo land older than every single thing you see in Egypt. Gardening tools that is older than every single thing. Go on, because they got the big buildings. Okay, great. That's good. There are gardening tools older than that big building. So how can I? And they're in mass. There's in mass. It's not like 2 or 3. It's thousands. And so how can I be from? Like, why is this necessary? All the time, someone's got to be from somewhere. Just roaming around. You know what I mean? How? Just let it go. Let it go. You're older than them. You're older than them, and them, and them. You're older than them. Once you get all that nonsense, not you guys, once proverbial person I'm talking to, once you get all this nonsense out of your head, you'll start seeing a lot of really interesting stuff, a lot of really enlightening stuff, and you'll start growing as a person. Forget about the nonsense. You think you don't know anything. I don't know anything. Let it go. Go for the ride, experience things. When you ask your people, they'll tell you they came out of the ground. You understand? Respect that and figure out what they're talking about. Talking about I'm from Egypt. No, Sudan is older. Sudan has older pyramids. Yeah. Being open helps us learn. Exactly. Confusion all up in ancient consciousness. Like, if you don't want Abrahamic confusion all up in your ancient consciousness, uh, yeah, if you don't want Abrahamic nonsense all up in your ancient consciousness, come to death row. Yeah, they got spoons older than the whole of Israel, and let this thing go, man. Let it go. All right, guys, I'm getting out of hand. I'm going to be taking off. As always, I appreciate you guys for being here, especially after all these years and everything like that. Finding Igbo comedic connections and concepts. Sure, I understand that. I completely understand the connections. The connections are there. But what I don't like with every black culture, the minute they see a connection to something, oh, we're from there. Okay, like so soon? Oh, we're actually from there. Okay, they say this, we say that. We're from there. Why aren't they from you? They're never from you, huh? Not you, Duran. I know we've talked before. You got sense. So, anyways, man. All right, guys. I think everybody here should be already subscribed. If you're not, go ahead and hit the subscribe. Hit the like button too. I wasn't enforcing it, but I noticed that you guys did your thing. 24 likes, 22 people in here. That's good stuff. It makes me happy. I'm trying to be more regular. I'm going to be more regular about the lives. But sometimes there's no topic that comes to mind. So I think one of the ways we can fix that is if you guys have something you want me to talk about, just message me. If you're on Patreon, message me on Patreon, Instagram, whatever. Patreon messages will have priority, of course. because those are the people making it possible for me to even do any of this. So message me Patreon, Instagram, however you get a hold of me. Just say, hey, can you talk about this on your next one? That'll help a lot. Because sometimes the day will come and I'm like, I don't really have anything I want to talk about. I'm not going to force it. So be it. But I'll be more regular once I have more topics. And then, of course, if you want to support the channel, the best way to do so, patreon.com/the medicine shell. Some reason say Igbos were priests and Kemet. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, so the best way to support is patreon.com/the medicine shell. My whole research library is available to patrons. So if you think I'm just talking out of my ass, you can go check. I got plenty of books, articles, anything you can imagine. Like a lot of historical documents, like people like who were like went through Benin City back in the day, in the ancient days, or went to Igbo land back in the days, and what they had to write and that kind of thing, what they had to say, all that stuff. I also have like a lot of documents on like diasporic spiritual traditions, Obe, Santeria, Hoodoo, voodoo, all these different things. I have it's all there. It's all there. And it's all necessary. I have to understand those things to understand the thing I talk about. So it's all part of the process. And then, of course, you get the calendar. So patrons get access to the calendar. It lets you know what moon we're under. It also lets you know what market day it is. I haven't looked at my calendar in a long time. I've been very stressed out. Very stressed out for these past 2 months. Just a lot of things, vehicular things going on, right? A lot of vehicular things going on. But this is year 3 of me doing the medicine shell. So this is the Kenga year. I have to be strong this year. You understand? So I'll do my so the all of that's available, patreon.com/the medicine shell. You guys, if you're going to be learning the Igbo language, if you've said to yourself, and I only want people that are serious, so I don't want something, maybe I'll try to learn Igbo. My dad said I'm Igbo. I want you, somebody that said, I'm going to learn how to speak Igbo. I'm going to learn the language of my ancestors. I'm going to write that book or essay or do my art or make my music in the Igbo language. Then come over, sign up, www.kedu.me. Kedu, we teach the language in the way our ancestors present the language, right? So you can ask anybody who's been a part of Kedu to share their experience. If there's anybody in the chat that, hey, it was good, or if it was bad for you, go ahead and share it. It's all good. But I've seen some really amazing things happen. We have great teachers. I actually taught like, I think 1 or 2 quarters ago, but I can't teach anymore. I can teach Igbo 1, but that's past anything else beyond that. I need to go to, that kind of thing. But we have really great teachers that are able to share things, a lot of the things I discuss and connect it to the language and things like that. And we also have Kedu kids. I want to see if you guys have like kids, nieces, nephews, sign them up. There's nothing in the world as far as like the work I do that goes that makes me happier than the Kedu kids classes. All the kids learning and doing their projects and presenting and speaking Igbo and learning the traditions and things like that. So all those things really make me happy. And the teacher, shout out to Uju, myself and the parents, we all have a kind of a nice little WhatsApp group going. So if you want to join in on that and have our kids learn together, it's all at Kedu, www.kedu.me. We're starting classes the week of August the 26th, the 23rd to be specific. So this is the best time to sign up. And then we try to limit the amount of people in there because I don't have like a big, massive facility or what faculty that can cover 100 students. So we try to limit however many, but we're growing, and it's a gradual process, and you guys are making it possible, and I'm grateful for that. Every year, it's more and more people signing up for Kedu, and I love that. So that being said, unu ga-adị, unu ga-eto, nke ọbụla unu tiri aka ọ ga-adị n'ụwa, ọ ga-adị otu a n'eke, n'orie, n'afọ, ise.